My placement year within university was with the company Jaguar LandRover. Jaguar LandRover is a multinational automotive company and is a subsidiary of the Indian automotive company Tata Motors. Previously, both Jaguar and Land Rover were separate companies. However, when Tata took the companies over, they merged them to become one in 2013. This then made them Jaguar LandRover Automotive plc. Jaguar LandRover Automotive plc then became responsible for the design, development, manufacturing and sale of all vehicles bearing the Jaguar LandRover marquees. Their main headquarters are based in Coventry, Whitley in the Midlands of UK, and they have many plants throughout the whole of the UK and international. They provide over 40,000 jobs within the UK alone. You may recognise some of the cars developed and manufactured by Jaguar LandRover. First of all, by Land Rover, including the iconic Range Rover, the Range Rover Evoque, the Range Rover Velar, and the classic Land Rover Defender, which has recently this year been updated for this new model state. From the Jaguar cars, you may recognise the Jaguar XE, the sporty Jaguar F-Type, and their most recent Jaguar I-Pace, which is their new electronic hybrid car. Throughout the UK, there are many manufacturing and research facilities, mostly based around the Midlands. These include Solihull, which is the main Land Rover assembly manufacturing centre, Castle Bromwich, which is the main Jaguar assembly centre, Whitley, which is the main headquarters for Jaguar LandRover, Gaydon, which is a very large researching facility, Warwick University, EMC Wolverhampton, which is their engine manufacturing centre in Wolverhampton, and Halewood, which also is a main Jaguar assembly centre. Throughout my placement, I was based at the Solihull plant. Around the world, there are also many plants that Jaguar LandRover have built for different cars to be manufactured and research facilities. These include Austria, Brazil, China, India, and Slovakia. Throughout my placement, I was lucky enough to take a trip out to the Slovakia plant in Nitra to look at their processes and help on a project that I was working on. Throughout my placement, as mentioned, I was based at the Solihull plant. This is a main Land Rover assembly plant with 2 assembly halls, 3 body shops and 1 paint shop, including a large amount of staff and employees. Therefore, due to this, parking at the Solihull plant is very limited, and so there is an off-site parking facility at Birmingham Airport. This is where I was based for the majority of my placement, and parking at the Birmingham Airport then meant I was able to get a shuttle bus from the airport to the plant, which also allowed you to travel around the plant due to the large span that it covered. At Solihull, I had flexible working hours, and my particular working hours were 8 a.m. till 4:30. Just to give you an idea of how large the plant is, there are over 1,000 robots, with just 650 in one body shop alone. Health and safety on the plants is very important, as there are lots of robots and machinery that can cause issues and accidents. So when entering each plant, you must sit through a health and safety video before being allowed access. For Solihull, this is based in the offices, which you have to walk through before you can enter the plant. One of the main health and safety procedures uses walking lanes, which must be followed at all time. These are outside of the buildings and also inside. They are marked with yellow or white lines to indicate that you must follow them. The area that you can see in the picture on the right-hand side shows a red area, which means that you can only enter it when wearing safety boots or hard hats. The safety equipment that is required to be on plant is provided for you if required and must be worn when entering these areas. High vis are also a main requirement when walking around plant. Within my placement year, I worked within a department called Material Planning and Logistics as an International Systems and Standards Analyst, covering end-to-end supply chain, from raw material to finished vehicle distribution, including anything from the packaging of parts, the supplier communications, to the launch of a new vehicle. I was contributing to the development and execution of global material planning and logistics, whilst enabling the global expansion and supporting different manufacturing operating models. This was in which I provided the critical communication links between functional areas and IT, whilst exploring and benchmarking future logistics and IT trends to overall improve processes and cost savings. Working with the functional areas and IT enabled me to provide the link between them and to improve the processes that each functional area currently completed. I was using evolving data analytics software tools and techniques to deliver these cost savings or process improvement projects. A main project that I worked on throughout my time at Jaguar LandRover was involved with advanced shipping notices. These notices are electronic messages sent from suppliers to Jaguar LandRover when a shipment has left their facilities. It includes the part numbers that they are sending, the packaging that it is packaged in, and the quantities within the packaging as well as the overall quantity. This allows then Jaguar LandRover to understand what the shipment holds and how to unpackage it from the shipment itself and further put this away. My specific roles throughout this, first of all, was by compiling data for a weekly and daily metrics pack. By compiling data, analysing and using Tableau to visually represent, a set of metrics were created with the intention to update them on a daily basis, tracking all progress that we were making. These were then distributed daily and communicated to the material planning director and his first line. I also worked as a triage analyst, which meant I was allocated a number of suppliers myself to triage and support with any ASN issues they had. This could be anything from a failure to the supplier not sending an ASN for a shipment, or from simply having an IT issue. Being a triage analyst meant that I held communications with the suppliers myself to help them with anything that they could. Finally, I worked within truck staging area communications. All shipments ASNs are checked at the truck staging area before being sent to the plant. When any issue was recorded, a communication was sent to myself to look into and resolve. My role in this would be to receive the communications from the TSA and carry out a deep dive to be clear on what the issue is and how it needs to be resolved. I would then further distribute these to the respective triage analysts within my team. On this slide, you can see two of the metrics graphs that I created and completed and updated on a daily and weekly basis. On the right, the graph shows the trend line from March 2018 to May 2018 and how both suppliers and the triage team have improved on the ASN on arrival to the plant. The orange line shows the state of the ASN and the percentage of good ASNs on arrival when the ASN came into the system. The green dash line shows what the state of the ASN was on arrival to the plant and how it was improved from the state that it arrived in order to reduce the amount of issues in the plant. The blue line shows the expected trend line and glide path of where the team was expecting to be, but due to issues that were come upon throughout the project, this was seen to not be as good as we expected. The left graph shows the top errors on a 4-week rolling average. These are represented through their error that we would see within the electronic message and the description of the error so that it could be fixed, as well as whether the error was due to a supplier issue or a Jaguar LandRover IT issue. I thoroughly enjoyed my time on placement at Jaguar LandRover. However, I do have 3 key learning outcomes from the whole placement. First of all, Tableau software. Before joining Jaguar LandRover, I had no experience or previous knowledge on the Tableau software. Since then, I've learnt the software and I'm able to manipulate the data in a number of different ways to produce graphs and visual representations for analysis. Second of all, using Excel and Google Sheets. I did have previous knowledge in working with both of these programs. However, since joining Jaguar LandRover, I came to realise this was very limited. I am now an advanced user of both programs and am able to work with data in a less complicated and time-consuming manner, as well as being able to manipulate it in more ways than previous. Finally, I was able to understand the impact a process can have. Whilst being on the triage team, I came to notice that small changes or non-compliances may have a greater impact cross-functionally and on the business overall, putting tasks into real-life perspective and realising their importance.